Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Dadas Show, coming to you from Siala Resort here in Kisumu. I'm your host, Ashiko Mbune. As our name suggests, the Dadas Show aspires to promote the spirit of sisterhood and unity. And we do that by creating an open, safe, and comfortable platform for women to discuss issues pertaining to their health, their lifestyle, their choices, their careers, even their political aspirations. Now, we have moved to Kisumu City in the spirit of inclusion and equality. And in the next few episodes, we will be talking about issues that are affecting women and girls in this region. I hope you are looking forward to that as much as we are. Now, sexual gender-based violence is a particularly disturbing phenomenon that exists all over the world. Kenya is no exception to this level of brutality, which of course negatively affects women and girls. As one of the counties experiencing increased levels of sexually gender-based violence, Kisumu County is now blazing the trail in the fight against this crime. In today's topic, we shall speak to key stakeholders in this fight, and we shall also have a chance to interact with survivors of sexual gender-based violence. As always, we welcome you at home to take part in this conversation by keeping us engaged on all our social media platform at KBC Channel 1. As always, we always look forward to getting feedback from you, be it positive or negative, on this show or on any other show. Of course, we are looking forward to any form of interaction. Talk to us, encourage the panel, and yeah, we will really appreciate that. Before we jump into today's conversation, let's have a look at the following feature.
Western and Nyanza region report the highest levels of physical and sexual abuse. According to a civil society group in Kisumu, 4 in every 10 women in the 15 and 49 age bracket are victims of violence before their 18th birthday. Kisumu County has the highest SGBV cases, as 39.2% of pregnant women have experienced physical violence, with main perpetrators being their intimate partners. In 2020 alone, Kisumu County recorded over 1,400 defilement cases at the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital between January and August following the closure of schools. Nancy Okoth, project manager at Plan International, works towards restoring the dignity of girls and young women after teenage pregnancy and from abusive, violent environment.
I really advocate a lot for the girls to return to school, because I know not each and every girl story may turn out to be like mine, but I try to encourage them, and I'm very glad that I've rescued a number of girls personally, running to 30-40 girls that I've rescued. That is through people. Somebody's called me, Nancy, there is this girl here, she's pregnant, she wants to commit suicide, and I will want to talk about this one girl. I'm not going to mention the name. This girl was in Kisumu Girls and was being supported by Equity, Wings to Fly, and she got pregnant. And when she was going back home, one of the teachers who knew me called me and told me, Nancy, there is this girl that wants to commit suicide. Kindly just come. I just traveled from Nairobi. I went to pick the girl and brought the girl in my house. So I was with the girl, and I'm glad the girl is now doing engineering at Technical University, because she gave birth, went back to Ngia Girls. Equity continued to pay for the girl. And right now, we are going to have an engineer in the society that if maybe I did not do my role as an advocate, we would have lost this girl.
At the age of 13 years, Nancy found out that she was pregnant.
And one thing I also remember is when I was going back to school, and my mother took me back to school against all odds, because once when she contacted some of my uncles, and they told her, no, you know, a person who's gotten pregnant is a mother, so she's either be taken from this course, the tailoring course, or she get married, because if you've gotten pregnant, you are now a wife. But my mother insisted, no, my child have to go back to school. So there was not much support back at home for my mother, so that she's able to help me go back to school.
A report by the county government of Kisumu indicates that the main perpetrators are people close to them.
We have read a lot of reports about defilement. Girls and young women, the young people are being defiled by the people who are older, their uncles, because most of the defilement even happen in the families. The defilement happens on the way, the defilement happens in school, based on the reports that we have seen, and even the people that just know us, that are confident, they still defile these young girls. And even in churches, the girls and young women are being defiled. So this means there is still a lot of sexual gender-based violence that results into teenage pregnancy.
As cases of SGBV continue to rise, the Luo culture and teenage pregnancy have been said to be the major causes. The county government of Kisumu has been urged to come up with policies and budgets to help curb the rise of SGBV cases in the county.
One thing I would want to say that we did not talk about, if the policy makers and even our leaders are able to come up, and right now as they are working on their CIDPs, right now as the budgets are going to be developed, are they able to set aside some budgets just for safe houses, some budgets, some just for the health services for these young girls and women? Yeah.
In cases of violence, the Kenyan government has established a helpline desk in police station for SGBV cases, that is 1195 or 116 or 1192.
Welcome back. Joining me to discuss today's topic right next to me is Javenta Achieng. And right next to her is Lucy Athiambo. And finally, at the end of my panel, I have Mr. Michael Gitere. We always get very excited when we see gentlemen. We call them he's for she's. So as far as I'm concerned, any gentleman here today is a dada. Which of course, you know, loosely translated is a sister. So karibuni sana dada zangu. And of course, I cannot fail to acknowledge my audience and honored that each and every one of you could take time from your busy schedules to be able to sit here with me as we discuss this very, very contentious issue, especially here in Kisumu. Now, to get the ball rolling, just to put everything in context, I want to start off with you, Michael. And of course, like I said, I always get very encouraged when I see men involved in the fight against SGBV. In your professional opinion, what are the root causes of SGBV in this region? Perhaps we start by, first of all, just defining what SGBV means and what are the root causes in this particular area.
Thank you for having me in this show. My name is Michael Gitere from Plan International. Specifically within Plan International, I am a project officer implementing a project within the Kisumu region. It's called She Leads, and just by the title, we want to see ladies on the forefront. We want ladies to be on the tables where decisions are being made. We want to see them in leadership. So that's basically what we're doing to support them, especially young girls between 14 and 24, those are the targets, to make sure they are part and parcel of all the decisions that are being made within formal institutions, informal institutions, communities, whatever level. We want their voices to be heard. I've been doing this since 2016, so a bit of some experience, and mostly the programs cut across gender issues, child protection issues, and a bit of civic space. Going to your question, the root cause of SGBV. First, we want to look at what are we discussing. We are discussing what I would term as one of the most pervasive human violations. And just like you said during the introduction, it's been here with us for a very long time. We are doing a lot, but sometimes when you look at the statistics, we get worried. Are we getting there? But we can't give up. We can't give up. We will continue addressing it. And we are looking at sexual-based violence being a form of violence that is committed, you know, and we know when you look at the statistics, majority of the people who are affected by SGBV are the female, are the female gender. Not saying that men are not part of this, they are, but in terms of the statistics that we're looking at, girls and young women bear most of the brunt. And that's why you see a lot of programming is around supporting the girls and young women. And this comes in many forms. We have defilement, we have rape, we have all sorts of harassment. And so when we look at all that, we realize that this is something that is perpetuated against someone's will. This is something that happens to girls and young women. And mostly when we are looking at the underlying factors, we are looking at the social norms at the heart of most of these incidences of SGBV. So our programming is around ensuring that we are transforming these social norms together with the community. So there's what we call the multifaceted approach, where you bring in different players to protect and to respond where it has already happened. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, that is very well explained. Now, from the work that you have done, what are some of the, especially in the region you work in, what are some of the root causes of SGBV? Of course, there's the social norms, but what other features?
Oh yes, I just probably just highlighted one, but the root causes are many. You're looking at the region where the poverty index is very high. So poverty plays a part because you realize these young girls, they have, they have needs, basic needs that are not being met. And sometimes defilement comes in, with someone purporting they will take care of some of these needs.
Yes.
You're looking up at someone who probably will bring some economic support to your family. So you find things like child marriage, they're still happening. The family is very poor and they think because they have a girl within the family, the girl could be married off and that way they'll make some money, to be able to meet their basic needs. You're looking at, there are still gaps in terms of sensitization. Yeah. Some of these people, maybe the information has really not gotten them, in terms of if these things are happening, where do you even report? Okay?
Yes.
And that's why we say sensitization has to be an ongoing process. It cannot be a one-off. So we're looking at when the economy is not doing so well, actually the rates go up because people are trying to survive, and whatever means people will go for it.
Yeah.
So there is poverty as a factor. There's the social norms that have mentioned. The cultural setup also. So you find some of these things emanate from the practices that people have had. And they have normalized and lived with it. And so this becomes like the identity. And that's why probably we'll be talking about it at some point. That's why it's been very challenging. Because people have found identity and normalized on this way as a way of life. So coming to tell them that now this is forbidden by the law. Essentially, the law should be supreme over all cultures.
Yes.
So if there is a culture that contradicts what the law says, the law carries the day.
Yes.
But you find that we have some policies put in place around SGBV, but people are still very much hinged on some of these cultural practices.
Okay, Thank you so much. So now I want to move to one of our survivors. And I know that it's something that is very, very, very personal. So of course I have to commend you. Lazima nikuambia asante sana. No, kukua shujaa, you're my hero personally, for being able to come and sharing with us your story. It's also important to note that in certain SGBV is not a respecter of age. And in some communities, we're finding that the most reported cases are women, like we mentioned, between the ages of 14 and 25. And of course, most of the time it happens within the homestead. So today we have some very, very brave young ladies who are going to, give us an insight on their experience. And we are here for them to encourage and to support them on their journey. Karibu sana Javenta. Tafadhali, unaweza tuambia what happened to you?
It was on 8 December when the robbers just come in the house and raped me. So after that, nilipelekwa OC, alafu nikapewa dawa. Then we report to the police station at Kombewa. Then finally we report the case to High Court in Maseno. Then after that, niliambia mentor wetu hiyo maneno. Then he just give me encourage. Then ikakuwa tu hivyo hadi leo.
Pole sana. Kwa hiyo yule mtu alikufanyia hii maneno ni mtu unajua ama ilikuwa stranger tu?
He was a stranger but I can identify him. Yes.
So action gani ndo has been taken kutoka hiyo wakati? Huyo mtu ninasikia ulisema mulienda kotini, ako kwa cell saizi ama alireleasiwa na bail?
First of all, alipelekwa Kombewa at police station, then finally akapelekwa kwa court. Yeah.
So at least that is very encouraging. Unajua kujua at least kuna justice ina prevail. Hiyo pahali munakaa ilikuwa asubuhi ama ilikuwa usiku ama ilikuwa wakati gani ya siku?
Ilikuwa asubuhi. Saa 9 asubuhi.
Ulikuwa peke yako nyumbani?
Nilikuwa nalala na watoto wetu wadogo. Then I just find that man beside and I was sleeping.
Alafu wakati uli raise alarm, majirani wakakuja?
Hapana. Sikuwa naweza piga kelele juu walibeba gun na kisu.
Ilikuwa watu wangapi?
Walikuwa 7.
Walikuwa 7?
Yes.
Asante sana Javenta, you know that is things hiyo what you have experienced is inashika roho ya mtu, you know, you feel saddened, and I'm sure everybody in the audience is also, you know, stretching out their arms to you and giving you a hug. Sasa kwa sababu after everything happened to you, kuna counseling services ulipatiwa?
Yes.
You were given?
Yes.
Bado una attend your counseling service?
Yes.
Okay, sawa. So unaona ni kama inakusaidia?
Yes.
Now Michael,
Yep.
in an incident such as Javenta's, where she is still in the process of getting justice done, you know, what is there a way, what mechanisms need to be put in place to actually be able to protect the victims of SGBV? Because if we're talking about the back and forth, being sent to this office, another office, go to the court, do all of this, I mean, we were discussing earlier about, you know, the fatigue that comes with it, and of course we need to protect the security if the people are still hovering around. So what measures do you feel need to be put in place to be able to address this, the laxity and the stretching out of the justice process?
Yeah, the unfortunate thing, Ashiko, is that we seem not to have like a one-fit, you know, kind of solution. It's trying to adopt many strategies at the same time to try and seal some of those gaps that we have identified. I'm aware the government has already piloted something that they're calling the Polycare, where they're trying to think how can we have all the services that an SGBV survivor requires all under one shop. So you have the medics there, you have legal representation there, you have the police there, so that movement, you know, which someone from the audience already mentioned, that sometimes the cost associated with going to the court now and then,
yes,
in itself becomes a discouraging factor. And that's why some of these cases, the survivors get to a place and just they want to pull out. So I'm aware that that has already been done. It's more of a pilot, so it's not in all the counties that we have. But based on the findings on how it's gonna, you know, improve efficiency, probably we will see more counties also accessing that service. The other thing is I'm aware, because of those gaps that exist, the civil society are really doing a lot to complement the government. Of course, there are roles that they cannot duplicate, roles like investigating.
Yes.
Those ones are purely the government. But in terms of providing like the medical care, the counseling services, they are really complementing. So in such a case, if at all, probably the government hospital that is available around here is very far, you find there could be some civil society that are already partnering with the hospital, and that hospital is able to provide those services in terms of counseling and many other things that will be needed. So yes, there's some progress, because to be honest, we are not where we were.
Yes.
But again, we are not satisfied. We don't want to rest where we are, because we are aware that we still have some miles to cover. And if you look at most of the reports that were done, especially after COVID,
Yes.
because we did an investigation and realized, not just Kenya, as you said initially, SGBV is an issue. It's a global issue.
It's a global issue.
Yes, and during COVID, actually, we have countries that recorded a surge of up to 500%. So you find that most of the reports have really found gaps in the way government structures and institutions are responding. And we've had meetings with government to try and understand what is really happening.
Yes.
And one of the things that is coming out also is that on the flip side of it, we've had cases where in the communities, if someone is your rival, people are using SGBV,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
to get back to that family.
Yes.
Your son has raped my daughter. And in essence, such a thing didn't happen, you know, in some cases.
Yes.
So what the government is saying is that they have really increased the threshold of sentencing the perpetrators.
Yes.
So before they can find you guilty, culpable for that offense, there's a lot that really has to be, you know, the judge really need to be satisfied. They say beyond any reasonable doubt
yeah.
before they sentence the person. To avoid a situation where, and we've seen it in the media, someone is sentenced and then later someone comes out to say, so and so told me
I lied, you know, yeah, I
lied.
lied. Nothing like that
Yes,
happened.
to
So
avoid that. Yeah.
I do understand that that is definitely something that needs to come into play, you know, that needs to be, it's an actionable item, you know, like yesterday.
Yeah.
So the next person who's going to be sharing with us is Lucy. Lucy is also a survivor. I don't like using the word victim.
Yep.
Yes, it did happen to her, but she's surviving, you know, and she's thriving. So Lucy, karibu sana.
Tulikuwa tulienda sokoni, nilitembea kwa njia, nikapata mtu mwingine ako kwa njia, aliniambia nikupe lift, alafu nikasema ya, alafu ananiambia nipasipanda. Ukifika Holo, alisema alipita na pikipiki kwa nguvu, nipeleka tu kwa nyumba ingine, alafu akanifanyia tabia mbaya. Alafu polisi akakuja hapo, akanichukua peleka tu Kadisi. Alafu tukilala hapo Kadisi, kesho akapeleka tu Maseno. Alafu tulipelekea hospitali Kopti, akapima, alafu tulirudi. Alafu ile kijana alipaka tu kwa, niliwacha tu kwa selabu.
Sasa tuseme wewe saizi nikikuuliza unaona huyu kijana, unasema ni kijana ulikuwa unajua? Si kijana ulikuwa unajua. Alikuona tu ukitoka kwa mtu akakwambia akupatie lift na bodaboda. Alafu ukaenda nayo. Pole sana. Now wewe kwa hii situation yote unaona ni kama ni nani unaona ni kama nani aliku-let down kwa hii situation? Uliona kama huyu kijana alishikwa haraka ya kutosha? Alishikwa saa hiyo? Okay. Asante sana. Thank you so much for your bravery, by the way, Lucy. Michael, what are some of the biggest hindrances to, or have we already addressed that?
No, we haven't.
Yeah. What are some of the biggest hindrances to the fight against SGBV in Kisumu?
Yeah, we have a lot of gaps. Some of them we had mentioned. One, you realize that the social norms, the culture of the day, is still trying to interfere with how these cases are supposed to proceed in court. So you have families that want to negotiate. You have a culture that doesn't look at SGBV as a criminal case. You have social norms that are saying, now that she's been raped, then she can be someone's
She can
wife.
be somebody's wife.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that is becoming a huge factor when it comes to winning the war against SGBV. Number two, we had touched on poverty. Because if someone just shows a bit of some money to a survivor, the survivor's family, and in most of these families, you find the young girls that have gone through the ordeal are not empowered enough to really speak for themselves. So it's the parents who are negotiating on their behalf. So this parent is struggling with school fees, with food. So a bit of money and the story changes. Then you look at government services. This is where now we talk of the response services. I would say not well staffed, not adequately funded. So in fact, we are having more civil society organizations coming to complement on those services. Then we are looking at, those court procedures. Sometimes when you don't get a lawyer on pro bono, that family will not be able to afford hiring their own lawyer to support them in the court. And so in such a case, you can already tell that that case will not see the light of the day. So the challenges are myriad, and that's where now we come in as Plan International. We link them with organizations that will be able to represent them in court for free, because anytime you mention that there's a cost attached to this case, that's how you lose the survivor.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Michael. I want to go back to Javenta. Javenta, kama kuna msichana nyumbani anaona hii show leo na anakuona umekuwa brave, unakuja kwa show, what advice, na experience kile wewe experience, ni mawaidha gani unaweza mpatia?
I will just encourage them to have that confidence to tell their fellow friend such problem, so that they can be able to get help from other person. Yeah.
Now, when all this is said and done, would you want to be involved kwa organization ya wale watu wanasaidia, people who went through something like you?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to take a short break, and then we'll be right back with the question and answer session from the audience. Thank you so much.
Yeah, gender-based violence sana kwa kijamii, mwanamke na mwanaume, kifamilia. Yeah, inakuweko lakini sio mingi sana, lakini eneo zile wanauza hizi mahadarati, ile kulewesha mtu, pombe, bangi, hiyo eneo unaona violence iko mingi sana, sababu amechanganyikiwa. Anakuja home late, akisha kuja home late, yeye pia anataka apewe chakula na haku provide. So unakuta vitu kama hiyo.
Yeah, gender-based violence is in the Kisumu here, but it's scarce. Yeah, it's scarce, but we can just control it, because it's something which is cropping in, but we must have a control about it, because we must have to teach our children whatever they can do so that they can control violence. They must go to school. They must learn how to interact with their parents towards their education, which they are getting from the school. So I think it is scarce, but it can be controlled.
Kupiga mwanamke hairuhusiwi, si mzuri. Mwanamke unaweza muongelesha, si lazima umpige. Ni kweli, mtu mkubwa pia anaweza elewa, lakini haifai apigwe. Yeah.
ndio tupate kula mpate kustop. Lazima sisi wenyewe kama tuseme hata sisi au watu wanaitwa au viongozi kama serikali, lazima wenyewe wao watu wenye wanafuatilia ukweli. Wakisema wanafuatilia kitu ili watende mtu haki, lazima inafaa wafuatilie watende mtu haki. Lakini wakisema watafuatilia hiyo story, watafuatilia dakika mwisho haitakuwa na suluhisho.
Hapa eneo letu la Dunga hakuja kuwa na gender based violence, but kama mahali pengine kunaweza kukua, naweza wahimiza wenzangu ambao wamekumbatiwa na hiyo shida waende waripoti kwa sheria na sheria ifuatilie iwezekanavyo. Wanawake hawafai kudhulumiwa, manake sisi wote ni wanadamu na pia sisi wote tuko na rights zetu na tuna all important function katika jamii letu.
Welcome back to the question and answer session. It's an opportunity for our interactive audience to be able to speak, ask questions to our panelists, give them a word of encouragement. And to start us off, we have Esther.
Thank you so much, Ashiko. My word of encouragement is to our girls. Thank you so much for coming up and sharing your story with us. I'm sure it has encouraged other people out there who could be victims, or at least when anything will happen regarding SGBV, they will know that they need to share their story with others. Thank you so much for that and for being bold enough to come on to the camera and to us audiences and to tell us what happened to you. So I have a question to my girls who are in front of me. I'm sure after you got defiled, there are many challenges that you've gone through, especially with the people around the community and to you as a person. So I'm sure that in Kisumu West, for example, we don't have any rescue center that is equipped that we can keep our survivors as we follow up on the cases. So after you've gone to the hospital, how safe were you when you got back home? That's my question to them, because I'm sure there are some challenges that they faced when they got home.
Thank you so much, Esther. That's a very good question, and I'd like both of them, to take it. What kind of challenges? Ni shida gani muli experience, especially kutoka watu wanawajua, after wasikie, what happened to you? We can start off with you, Javenta.
When I come back home, I was very embarrassed to my fellow girls. They don't want to walk with me because I was raped. So that is the challenge I face. And then people were talking badly about me, gossiping me wherever I pass. They just tell me this girl was raped, and then I was very disappointed to walk. Even when I sent in the market, I was not being able to go. Yes.
Pole sana about what you've gone through, Javenta. And I think sometimes the attitude needs to stop. Before we start demanding for government and NGOs and everyone to step in, the attitude right from our doorsteps, the attitudes that we have towards survivors of SGBV really need to change. We have a lot of victim shaming, which is something that should definitely stop happening. None of these girls called to themselves whatever happened. So it is rather unfortunate that the support system that they expect back home is the one that is turning against them. Quite a sad state of affairs right there. Michael, there was a follow-up to that question in regards to the safe houses, because if it turns out that the environment that the girls and the women are going back to is hostile, is there somewhere that has been created within Kisumu that they can be able to go, at least, to be safe?
Yeah, ideally, the procedure is that in such a situation, there's supposed to be a shelter house where she's taken to allow the legal support to take place, to allow counseling and all the other services that are supposed to follow to support towards her healing. Unfortunately, and this is not an issue of just Kisumu, there's a gap, a very serious gap when it comes to safe houses that are established by the government. Largely it has been an issue of funding and an issue of we don't have laws that would guide on how we develop and establish these safe houses.
Yeah.
But these conversations are already taking place. Like I would say authoritatively that the county government is working towards that. So in the meantime, what is happening is that the NGOs that are working on SGBV issues, most of the time, those are the shelter houses that are being provided for, which of course they're not enough compared to the numbers that are being reported. Sometimes even people are converting their own personal homes as shelter homes for these girls. So it's a very sad state of affair, but I'm aware that the county government is doing something towards that.
Okay, I hope they're watching this and they will hasten their steps.
Yep.
So our next question is comes from Natasha.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to express myself. Okay, for me, it's a word of encouragement. It goes for the girls. What I would like to say is that at least find something that you can do that can make you feel happy, like an hobby. Like, for example, you like playing basketball, you like playing football, you like listening to music. At least it can help you to through the healing process. Like we have a youth center at Pamoja CBO. It has sport activities. At least when you have leisure time, you can join the rest of the youths and at least have something that you can do that can help you heal.
Thank you so much, Natasha. Lucy, are there kuna activities unafanyanga at least unajua to keep busy? I know saizi mambo ni ngumu and you're young, so kama saizi kuna activities, kuna kitu unapenda kufanya? Kama nini?
Kupiga mpira.
Kupiga mpira. Oh, well, that's good. I think we have members of California team over here and they would be able to assist you to do that. Let's move on to our next question. Our next question is from Asmet.
Okay, asante sana Bishiku kwa wakati huu. Swali langu la kwanza linaenda hivi. Tangu wao wasichana wetu wadhulumiwe, is there any follow up? Ya pili, what if, I'm sure them they know that their case is in court. What if one day waamuke and then the family of the perpetrators wakuje na waseme they are ready kutoa kitu kidogo hiyo kesi achiliwe? How will they react?
I think I would like Michael to take that question. Yeah. What assures the follow through? You know, and are there local updates on the proceedings of the the cases?
Yeah, ideally the family is supposed to get regular updates from the paralegals that are supporting in that process. So there should be some form of interface between the family and the paralegals. They're the ones who probably are going to court, so they have the details and so they're able to come back and share. Most of these paralegals are supported or they are attached to a certain civil society organization. So that makes a bit easy for the family. They don't have to incur any cost. And so someone else is incurring that cost on your behalf.
Yes.
In case someone suggests that drop these and then we'll pay, of course, with the kind of sensitization that we're all talking about, is that the family should know this is now a criminal offense. And the way it is actually, once it is entered in court, not even the family has a right to pull out that case. Actually, that case is the only person who can pull it out and it's in writing is the Director of Public Prosecution. So because these are cases that now are handled by the state, so it becomes the state versus now the perpetrator. It's no longer her versus that person. These are not private cases. where it's me suing someone.
Yes.
Now this is the state comes
the
now.
state, yeah.
Yes, that is the one now is casing with the perpetrator. So in that case, then you don't even have the power as the perpetrator, as the survivor to pull it out. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Michael. We will move to the next question or comment or word of encouragement from Irene.
Okay, nataka kusema asante kwa Javenta na Lucy kwa kukuja mbele yetu na kuongea, kuji-express. That was very good of you and we are proud of you. So I just want to encourage you that please usirudi nyuma. Vile unaendelea, you will feel so proud and so free when the case is done.
Yes.
And you see the perpetrator punished, and that will be a lesson to other girls and other perpetrators that these things they're doing will not just go like that. They will not get away with any violence they inflict girls. So thank you so much and keep it there. Yeah.
Thank you so much. By the words of encouragement to Javenta and Lucy, okay, we are all very proud of you. Let's keep it there. So our next question, word of encouragement or comment is from Anyango.
Thank you. I want to say thank you for my fellow girls for standing up and know who they are. It is good to stand firm on what is wrong and what you know it is right for your right. I want to encourage them by saying a long journey starts by one step. After you've started making a step, knows everything is going to be good. Na msichoke, msikate tamaa. Pengine inaweza kuwa mwenye alitenda hicho kitendo amejua hawana uwezo yoyote, lakini kwa kosa uwezo, lakini serikali mkono yao ni ndefu. Wanaweza kufuatilia hata kama wapotee, hata kama wapatikane. Ila tu mkishafika mbele, mkishaamua mmechukua hatua, msirudi kukaa na yule ambaye alitenda kitendo ama mmoja wapo wa familia kurudi kuambia ati tumesema ni ukweli alitenda, lakini tukae chini tuongee. Msiende mbali na hiyo kesi. Mkubali kuchukua pesa. Kuwa patient, be patient to wait. God always has 3 answers. Maybe anaweza kubali kwa haraka, anaweza kataa, ama anaweza kukuambia ngoja. So ninapenda kusema mungoje mpaka siku mtapata jibu yenu. Kwa sababu mnataka kuona haki yenu ikifuatiliwa. Na ni nzuri kupata haki kama haki yako imeharibiwa, ni mzuri kungojea upate. So naimiza wenzangu wasipoteze tumaini. Wawe tu na tumaini kutarajia kwamba haki yao watapata.
Okay.
Barikiwe.
Asante sana Anyango. I hope umesikia, the words of encouragement from Anyango. And next, we have a question, comment, or feedback from Alex.
Thank you so much, Ashiko, for bringing this show in Kisumu. I really want to encourage Joventa and Lucy for also coming up to share. And especially we have girls here with us and young women who are listening, who are also from the community. We know much that there are so many other cases within the community that are not reported. So Lucy and Joventa coming just to share is encouraging other girls also to share. And this will also enhance reporting of the cases, because there are other cases that are happening and are not being reported to the authority. And from She Leads, I want to report that I want to commit that we'll be able to link both Ashiko and both Lucy and Joventa to existing survivors forum. And they'll be able to get services, for example, psychosocial services, and also be linked to existing economic empowerment within the areas that they're coming from. So I'll take up their case, and I'll be able to follow up and link them to those supports.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wonderful. We need to give Alex a round of applause for what has happened. You know, it's good to see people stepping up to the plate and assisting these girls, you know, and at least thank you so much for offering what you have offered in terms of the counseling and the psychosocial support, and being able at least to even assist them with some form of empowerment so that they can feel financially stable. I always keep on telling somebody, if somebody is financially stable, it doesn't matter what has happened to them. There's nothing you can tell them. You know, they're fine, they're good, they're confident, you know. So we want to see your confidence levels increase so that you can stop cowering down in your chairs. What happened to you does not define you. It is not your story. This is not how it ends. This is just but a pit stop in the journey of your life. So I hope you will take up the opportunity that is being offered by Alex for counseling, psychosocial support, and also empowerment programs. Asante sana, Alex. We want to move on to Dalmas.
Thank you for the opportunity. And mine was just a word of encouragement. I'm still Dalmas, and I'm also a male champion. So allow me to call the two champions. And first of all, I'm going to say thank you because you are still alive. In such scenario, people do lose their life. But kwa sababu Mungu aliwasaidia na mkatoka hapo, na bado tunawaona. Nadhani ni kitu ya maana sana nyinyi kuwa na hiyo maisha ndani yenu, na bado tunaweza waona tuwaongeleshe, at least bado tuko na nyinyi pamoja. And as my colleagues has said, I'm also from Seme. I think as a champion tutakuwa na nyinyi pamoja in one way or another. Sina mengi, na wale wenye wamekuja hapa, my fellow audience, let us leave this place with something. In such scenario, tusichukulie tu kimchezo. Tukitoka hapa tujue hizo vitu zinafanyika huko, na zikifanyika tuwe na ile roho ya kusaidia watu kama hawa. Juu ni watoto wetu, ni mandugu zetu, ni madada zetu. Sina mengi, Mungu awabariki.
Asante sana, Dalmas. Those are very encouraging words from Dalmas, our champion. As always, I say I like to celebrate men who I see advocating for the rights of women. It gives us hope for the future that we long to live in. And finally, we have our final question or comment or word of encouragement coming from Dorothy.
Okay, mine is a question, and it goes to Lucy and Javenta. I mean, after the incidents and everything, the ordeal, when you went back to school, how did the teachers and your fellow students treat you? Was there stigmatization also in school, and did it affect your performance?
Yeah, so we'll let Lucy answer that. Wakati ulirudi shule after hii incident kufanyikia, walimu na wanafunzi walikuwa na behave aje towards wewe?
Walikuwa wanakuuliza swali, alafu ananifundisha.
Alafu anafanya nini?
Ananifundisha.
Anakufundisha? So hakuna mtu alikuwa, unajua Joventa ametuambia kuna watu walikuwa wana behave si vizuri towards yeye. Na je, wewe experience yako ilikuwa aje?
Wanafunzi wanakuuliza maswali. Alafu anakufundisha. Usirudi, usitembee peke yako. Nini ingine ulifundishwa, tukisema kama hiyo kutoka kwa incident yako? Nini ingine umefundishwa hata wakati wa counseling ile ungetaka kutuambia na hata uambie wale watu wako nyumbani? Aliniambia kama umekutana na mtu mwenye ajue, usipande kama anataka kubeba.
So usipande bodaboda ya mtu yule hujui. Okay. Hi, asante sana. Now, we have come to the end of today's very interactive, very emotionally charging episode of the Dadas show. Before I leave, I'd like to reiterate something that I had mentioned in another episode where we featured the same topic, but in the coastal edition. SGB and GBV is not a woman's issue. It's a societal issue. As we have discussed, and Michael and the audience, we have been peeling layers of SGBV. Every single person has a role to play in ending the fight towards SGBV. Be it offering support, being a support system, be it offering legal advice, be it offering even a space for victims and survivors of SGBV to be able to thrive. So there are various areas and various angles that we can approach this. So I urge you at home, let us, like what Dalma said, let us not just leave and look at this as any other episode. This is something that is happening and it is plaguing our nation. It is girls and women are suffering countrywide. So on behalf of my production team at KBC and of course my location partner Ciala Resort, I want to thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Dadas Show. Until next week, I am your host Ashiko Mbune. Bye-bye.